But even though like the first movie is probably my favorite, I think what's weird is my favorite scene is is from Return of the Jedi, and a lot of and it's weird how most people overlook it. It's um, it's when uh, Jabba the Hutt he's gonna push everyone into the worm pit or whatever, a pit of Sarlacc or something like that, and then of course you see them, of course you watch the movie, but it's just the fight scene after that is just amazing, and it's beautiful. I mean, you have Luke just jumping, on all these different hover barges, fighting all these people. Uh, you have Han Solo trying to rescue Lando from the worm's tongue, and Princess Leia is choking Jabba the Hutt with his own chain, and it's just remarkable. It's one of the greatest. I think it's one of the greatest action scenes in all of movie history, especially when you look at when it came out. You know, before that, I mean, you got to remember this was before Die Hard. This is before Arnold Schwarzenegger got really big. This is before you know Lethal Weapon and Rambo and stuff like that. Action movies weren't really that big, and probably the only thing that could really compare to this, before was, something out of a Western or a martial art or a pirate movie. And and I think it speaks to the fact. I mean, everybody talks about how Star Wars is a sci-fi fantasy, and they talk about how it was revolutionary with special effects. But one of the things that was also really revolutionary with was just action. It is really one of the greatest uh, series of action movies ever made. But of course, talking about the originals, what's weirds me out is how hard it is to find the originals now, like before the special edition. And what's also weird is just how many versions of the special edition George Lucas has made, where it's like I mean, the first special edition, Greedo shoots first, and then it you know his shot and Han's shot have just become closer and closer together. It just makes me wonder about the thought process behind that. I mean, is it just is he just reacting to people criticizing him, and he's trying to find a middle ground? But it's just weird, and it reminds me of where it's like uh, of like club songs or rap songs, where it's just hard to find the original version, and there's always like uh, that there's probably like, I don't know, like 50 versions of "It Takes Two to Make Things All Right," and it's almost impossible to find the original one now. But I have like a weird theory about it, though. It's like, maybe, I mean, George Lucas is always like sort of the super greedy capitalist in some ways, you know, uh, in another way, a man after my own heart. But he's, but maybe, like, if you look at some of of the old novels, how they would make a mistake or something in the first edition, and then of course they would change it the next edition. But it's like the first edition is now like super valuable, and so I don't know. Maybe he's just trying to uh, to inflate the value of the original version of Star Wars. You know, I don't know. That's a weird, almost kind of a conspiracy theory. But I mean, I will agree with his defense though about um, how the computer effects of I mean most people talk about Jabba the Hutt, but most of his computer effects that he spliced into the movie, they say, well, it doesn't look real, and he's like, well, nothing really looks real. I mean, really, like, so I mean, I think in a lot of ways there's been a lot of backlash against CGI effects, but you know, saying they don't look real. Well, nothing, puppets don't look real, and stop motion doesn't look real. Nothing really looks real. But at the same time, I mean, particularly the Jabba the Hutt insert into A New Hope. I did like the idea of you know, not knowing what Jabba the Hutt was really like until you got to the last movie. Almost like the Emperor, like in the first two movies, they're always talking about the Emperor, they're always talking about Jabba the Hutt, but you're still thinking like, well, who are these guys? What's going on? Like, what are they talking about? And then you get to the third movie, it's like, oh, that's Jabba the Hutt. Oh, that's the Emperor. Where I kind of like that kind of mystery feel to it. But the get to the new Star Wars, you know, when I finally saw it, and it's still I still wonder if I can have an objective view of it, because it is just there. It, I don't know how to explain it. Just Star Wars. Just that it's Star Wars. It just puts so much emotion into it that I don't know if I can completely judge it. The way that I can judge the other movies now. I feel like I'm too close to it, and it's weird that it's just a movie and it can do that, and it probably does that more than almost you know more than any movie could. But what I'll say, what really shocked me when I watched it was I think like just into the first 15 minutes of it, that really shocked me is just how fast paced it was. And if it's it's like almost a complete opposite of something like The Good and the Bad and the Ugly. I mean, there aren't that many scenes where there's there's just someone walking or someone looking around, or where you're getting the mood for an environment or a character or something like that. It's just super super fast paced, and if you blink, you're gonna miss something, and and I don't know. In some ways I like that. In some ways I don't like that. And I can see how that would turn a lot of people on and turn a lot of people off. But it's still, I mean, it's still better than like most Michael Bay movies, where it's just super slow in some parts and super fast in other parts, and it's just confusing. At least if it's going to be super fast paced, it keeps the same pace throughout most of the movie, and I mean, of course there's variations in everything, but at least it's not so much where it just doesn't feel right.